Hello there, my name is Josh, and I'm going to talk to you today about self-service within retail and fast food industries. First, I kind of wanted to establish what is self-service. When we go to a grocery store like Walmart or Smith's, we see self-service there every day. The self-checkouts are considered self-service. We go there, we check out our products, we pay there, and we leave. We don't need anybody else to come and help us there, nobody from the store, anything like that. And because of that, a lot of companies are now starting to use like scan and go products where you can walk through the store, scan what you need to on your phone, and then pay from your phone as well and get a receipt there and be able to walk out the door. I know the Sam's Club is doing that, Walmart, I think Costco is a little bit as well. Um, and in doing this project, one of the things I learned is that 71% of customers are familiar with the self checkout, and that provides a pretty good foundation and base moving forward for self-service technologies and applications, including AI, which is artificial intelligence. Familiar with AI or artificial intelligence? There's a company called Ubi who worked within Australia and New Zealand, distributing ice cream and frozen treats all over the place there. And after they realized that they had a large supply chain, they went back and looked at why it was so large and what was the benefit of that. And then hearing about a lot of different small companies, small mom and pop shops who produce different things of produce or different goods, and how these large supply chains are putting those people out of business, they decided to stop what they're doing and um, focus on these smaller people, on these small individual farmers and local farmers, in trying to get their products out to various customers. So by doing that, they shifted from a large supply chain where about 80% of the cost of their products was going to those supply chain expenses. They shifted that to a smaller supply chain where now they can get those smaller, locally produced goods and products out to their current customers while keeping the cost low because they have a smaller supply chain, and yet can get those products out to help them stay in business. And when I learned about this during my research, I thought I can guarantee that there are probably some things within their new supply chain that are automated. So this automation, the self-service, is essentially everywhere. Now you may be wondering, with all this automation and this artificial intelligence talk, are there going to be people who are put out of jobs? And while there may be some shifts in job responsibilities and job duties, it's my understanding and my belief that artificial intelligence and self-service won't put people out of business. Right now, I think within one of the videos that I watched, 44% of the population is working in jobs that are at risk of automation, where some of their duties can be taken away. But further in the video, I learned that this artificial intelligence is here to kind of take the workload off of our shoulders. They're developing algorithms to help doctors try to screen patients who may be high at risk or who may not be. Now, while it's not as good as a doctor, quite frankly, they've been through 8, 12 years of schooling. It's getting better. Their algorithms are getting more refined and more proficient in identifying who's sick, who's not. And with that, those doctors can now take extra time with their patients and can now focus on being with them instead of doing monotonous paperwork. Essentially, the artificial intelligence is here to take out the monotony of our lives. There were a couple different slideshows that he showed where there was a machine that can do laundry, a machine that can do your dishes, a machine that can cook. He said right now it's not a very good cook, but in a couple of years it could be. I think that's the main focus of artificial intelligence and self-service, is that it frees up a lot of time for parents to be parents, to be with their kids, and managers to be with people that they manage instead of doing administrative paperwork. Next, I want to talk about this automation and how it's being used and how it's being accepted by people here who are consumers. One of the things that I learned about is that customer acceptance is the biggest thing with new technologies emerging onto the market. That having customers who can understand and who can use your product, that's the biggest thing to having your technology kind of blossom onto the market. And one thing that the article that I read talked about was that people won't use your product if they can't tell that it will provide value to them. And if they can't tell that it's easy to use, if they don't know how to use it, they won't just use it. So those two things are most important, and I think that's why the Scan and Go app is pretty simple. It's essentially just you scan it and you can go. So keeping it simple like that is probably a key to self-service improvements in the future and any other breakthroughs with that. To go along with kind of that, the fast-paced and it's just customer-focused and customer-oriented focus for self-service, the warehouses also need to be kind of updated and automated in that respect too. We've talked about in class using a Kanban system where you have the two boxes, and when one's finished, you move it to the back, and the next one uses that product. And having that set up in that system of self-service, this is what you scan, you take it, and you can use it. That's going to be critical in using these self-service point-of-sale systems or anything else like that, because warehouse workers and warehouses will need to react with speed and proficiency and precision in getting the correct products to the right customers. Essentially, self-service, what I've learned so far is that it's all about the customer. And I think we've learned this in class too, that value is dependent on whoever is giving the definition of value. To me, it might be speed and proficiency. To somebody else, it's just cheap and it's inexpensive. To somebody else, it might be high quality, high taste, in regards to food, and they don't really care about the cost. But self-service allows us to choose that within the processes that we use, and that's been the biggest thing. McDonald's in 2017, they said we want to roll out 2,500 locations to have kiosks there where you can come in, order what you need to, and leave. One thing that I learned though is that McDonald's 2/3 of their business is through their drive-through, and then in the drive-through, there's no kiosk for you to use. It's all customer to the worker there, kind of communicating your order. And I thought, well, that's interesting that they want these kiosks everywhere, and yet 2/3 of their business is from a non-kiosk related part of their business. But going along with what we talked about earlier with artificial intelligence taking away the busy work, this is allowing for McDonald's employees to go and wipe down tables, to provide better customer service, and to essentially create a better experience for those who come to McDonald's so that they can want to continue to come there. And this same idea of creating better customer experiences is being echoed across all different retail businesses, due to Amazon or any other online retailer who can just simply ship out what you've selected online. These door-to-door, these brick and mortar stores need to have something that's different from Amazon, and so that's what these customer service oriented experiences are. And self-service applications and technologies provide that avenue for these customer service experiences to happen, so that they allow these workers to go out and be able to talk to them. One thing that I did learn though is that Taco Bell is having issues with their self-service kiosks and other ordering apps where you can order from your phone and pick it up at the store. They're saying that they're having so many issues with trying to keep up with the repairs and the breakdowns, and that they're hard to use, that a lot of the lower level employees are being terminated, which is causing about a 150% increase in the turnover rate for Taco Bell, at least in this specific location. They said if a store plans to employ 20 people within the year, they'll see 30 people at least go through there, because the management sees that things aren't being done correctly and they want to fire somebody who's in charge of that, when at the end of the day it's just the self-service applications that are having the issues. I thought that was pretty interesting. To wrap up, another key topic, or another thing that I found interesting, there's a store in San Francisco who now has 27 video cameras around the store there to track your behavior and track what you pick up, what you put down, essentially what you're going to buy. And what happens is you walk in and a little thing on your phone lights up and says blue, go ahead, you're in here, and you pick up whatever you need to and you walk back out. And what the cameras do is they track what you picked up, who you are through facial recognition, and they send a bill to your phone. So then you can pay for it from there. Right now, they're still having issues trying to figure out if you've stolen something, if you've picked it up 2 times, have you bought it or not? But I think that that's pretty interesting, kind of moving forward within the self-service realm, if that will kind of change the game going ahead. Kind of key points I want you to take away from this: self-service is an emerging technology. It's an emerging field, and it's a big deal. It helps companies to kind of cut out the mundane, the monotonous of their business and focus on what they really need. Whereas McDonald's, they're known for their speed and efficiency, and now they want to be known for their customer service, for their experience that the customers have there. Anybody can technically apply these self-service applications. We see them as retail stores doing scan and go, self-checkout, automated phone systems. Those are all essentially self-service. And the biggest key point in these self-service technologies is making sure the customers understand how to use them and that they can derive some sort of value from it, when again that value is dependent on whoever is kind of making that decision. Thanks, guys.